So I am really happy to introduce our next speaker. Not without controversy, Marcia Drut-Davis pulled no punches in her memoir, Confessions of a Child-Free Woman. Her appearance in an episode of 60 Minutes in 1974, which was the year before I was born, was met with its share of backlash. Not only did she face professional repercussions, she was the recipient of hate mail that called her a godless, child-hating bitch. And in spite of speaking up for women who don't want children, Marcia finds herself challenged even by child-free women who don't feel she's child-free enough. Today, we're welcoming Marcia to the NotMom Summit as a woman who's not afraid to raise her voice and speak her mind. Her appearance on national television, talking about her choice to be child-free, may have set the tone for my own life 42 years ago, before I even realized it. Before I was a small girl who did not like babies, and they would not be a part of my life. Without women like Marcia, we wouldn't have the courage to say, no thank you, I'm good. Motherhood's not for me. We don't need to add qualifiers or justify our choices or our level of child-freeness. And even though it feels like we face these challenges and negativity from society, the truth is we've reached a time in our history where we can simply say no, and no is a complete sentence. I'm thankful for Marcia's candid account of her journey, and we're really happy to welcome her to the stage today. We're also excited that we get to celebrate Marcia's 75th birthday this week. So it is my pleasure to welcome Marcia Drut-Davis to the NotMom stage.
Well, just looking at this room makes me verklempt with joy. We were supposed to see a segment of 60 Minutes, and it hasn't arrived. And being a good person and knowing what I went through, I will share with you very, very briefly what it was like. But before I do that, if you have any cell phones, please turn them off. Because this is the moment that could change your life, as it did me when I went to my first National Organization for Non-Parents meeting. And I suddenly looked around the room and I went, these people are normal. Oh my God, I'm normal. It was the most amazing feeling of my life. That led me to be interviewed that night on 60 Minutes. Because, forgive me for being an idiot, I said to the producer of 60 Minutes that night, sure, I'll be happy to talk to my then in-laws about my choice not to have children. They didn't know anything. They had told me to go home and practice because I did not give them a grandchild. And that night, on 60 Minutes, was the first time they heard that I never wanted to have children. Yes, shoot me now. It was stupid, absolutely stupid. But what happened during and after was even more upsetting to me, because it was the first time I became aware of what's out there if you dare to say, hey, you know what, I don't want to have kids. And I remember I was a teacher at that time, and I loved being a teacher. I was dedicated, passionate. I had more time to be a teacher because I didn't have to go home to take care of my children. These were my children, my students. But, of course, in those days, you don't dare go on 60 Minutes and say you don't want to have children. Now, in a way, I wish you had seen some of it, because the way it was edited should frighten you just from what I have to tell you. Just what I have to tell you. There were three couples interviewed. There was a very young military couple. There was me, I was young then too. And then there was an older couple, a very dear older couple. Young couple. She's interviewed, and Mike Wallace says to her, well, it's all well and good now, but what happens later when it's too late and you may have regrets? And she looks into the camera and says, oh, I never plan on getting older. Cut. Now, I know this woman, and I said to her, did you say anything more? She said, yeah. I said, I'm going to be as old as I feel in my heart, and not having children makes me young forever. That was edited. Thank you. Yes, thank you. On to me. first time, nobody knew, this was the first time that my mother and father-in-law were waiting for the Jewish Messiah to arrive. And we were letting them down. In fact, right before the film crew arrived, because I called up and I said, Mom, you know I'm going into New York a lot? Yeah. You know I've been kind of like excited about something and you don't know what it is? Yeah. Well, would you mind if 60 Minutes comes tonight to your home? They're going to film me. She goes, I don't know if I have enough rugelach and coffee. This is true. I'm not kidding. I said, don't worry about that. So in walks the crew, and they go into the kitchen, and the whole place is covered with wires and things, and they sit us down in the living room. But before that, my mother-in-law says to me, come here. Are you a nudie dancer? No, Mom, that's not it. Well, come here. You're into swinging, aren't you? Group sex, is that it? No. She went down a litany, drug addict, alcoholic. I mean, it was amazing. Never once saying you don't want to have children. It just wasn't one of those negatives that became a negative later. You don't see what goes on during that, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 5 minutes that I was on, because it was edited. It was edited. In fact, this is what my then husband, Warren, said. Ready? Here it comes. Watch me. Not a word. Warren was very outspoken, and he spoke his heart out about what went on in trying to make this decision not to have children. He was not heard. I was heard as the biggest bitch on this planet. And all you could see was my mother-in-law's eyes watering, my father-in-law puffing on a cigar. And they were just astounded. And of course, when Warren said one word, he was interrupted, and his father said, well, I mean, this just proves that you're immature. I mean, there's no other word for it. You just haven't grown up yet. And his mother said, Warren, if we had done that, where would you be now? Right. So my first adventure into what media could do to somebody who dared come out and be proud about it was astonishing. And the last couple was another woman and man, who I'm sure are deceased by now. They were quite old when it was taken. And she was seen like a little snot. The camera comes in on her, and her face goes like this. And then you see her swimming pool, her airplane, her yacht. Everything was things, things, things. How many of you have things, 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 yachts? Go ahead, I want to hear. See it. No airplane, no yachts. Oh, wait a minute. But you child-free people have so much money. How come? You're just rolling in money. What do you do anyhow with all that money that you have? And that was how they were depicted. Mike Wallace's last comment, by the way, I never met him. Pardon our perversion for airing this on Mother's Day. Good night, everyone. Yeah. Now, I didn't know that he said that till it was aired on Mother's Day. The next day, I lost my job as a teacher. Thank you. Not only a teacher, a dedicated, loving, excited, dramatic. Look at me, I mean, come on. I could not get a job for 10 years because I was blacklisted in New York City as a perverse, probably child hater, just because I didn't want to have children. But fear not, my darlings. 10 years later, I got rid of Warren because he fell in love with my girlfriend. It's in the book. Just one sentence. I didn't do too much, I don't want to give him any type of, exposure there. I married Jim, and Jim's last name changed, and no longer was I a woman scorned. At 50, I got my master's degree, went into a different field, teaching English as a second language, and was nominated by 600 peers of my of the middle school that I the whole district that I worked in, for Walt Disney's American Teacher of the Year. I lost. I said I was nominated. Okay, that's an honor. You know how they always say, that's an honor. But it shows to you what those kids missed for the 10 years that I could not teach because I was deemed unfit to teach. Sickening, isn't it? So was that 10 minutes? Is about it, right? Okay, good. So now all I wanted to do was tell you that this whole thing about being perverse, being edited, what media does to you. Be careful when you do speak to media, because they will edit to make it look what they want to say, unless they're really wonderful people like Maxine and Teresa and the other people here. So just be very careful, okay? So, I need the pointer. You know, I have done so many speeches in 43 years. I have never done a keynote. And a keynote is not about me. A keynote is about you. So I have spent literally, I think, days revising and changing and revising so that I could help you to leave this room so excited to be child-free by choice. That's the goal of today. But first, I want to find out who you are. 75 years. Every time I see that, I go, no. But I'm happy to be here because I fought and won cancer 3 years ago, so, okay. My first question, be honest. How many here are totally happy, totally secure, no questions asked, no kids for you forever? Would you please raise your hand? Totally. I'm going to need your help, my darlings, because we have a few who are not raising your hand, okay? Here's the next question. Be honest, even those of you who just said that. How many are still in the closet? How many are still afraid because of the possible rejection and the pity that you may get? Anybody honestly can say, thank you for your honesty. Thank you. I felt that way for 34 years, even though I didn't want to have kids. I was afraid. And then look what happened when I came out and said, okay, fine. But don't worry, I'll overcome that in this speech. How many are worried about regrets when it's too late? Thank you. That's great. Oh, am I glad you're here today. How many are fearful of being alone as you age? Oh, look at this. Amazing. How many feel that you're missing out on nurturing when you're not really good? Oh my God, this is wonderful. Okay, here it comes. I want you to understand that there's one word in your lexicon. That's a fancy word for vocabulary. When you're a writer, you get to use fancy words. One word that you need to know so much that it's a part of your life, and that is pronatalism. Without that word, you don't get it. And by the time I finish in this 45 minutes, I hope you know it so well that you're like a dictionary of what pronatalism is. The first time I even heard the word pronatalism from Ellen Peck, who wrote the book, The Baby Trap. That was the first book ever. When I got that book and started to read it, I became like crazy. I became so excited. I couldn't wait to finish that book. And then when Warren, at the time it was Warren, when he walked in, sometimes it's confusing. I've had 3 husbands. There, I said it. Okay, so Warren walked in, and I handed him the book, and I said, read it. And it was the first time we ever really talked about it and realized that there's nothing wrong in not wanting to have children. But when I heard Ellen Peck say pronatalism, I couldn't wait to say the word pronatalism. And if you want to have some fun tonight, or whenever you're home at a computer, write the word pronatalism and see how often it is underlined, because nobody knows that word yet. The other fun word is child-free. Do you know what comes up? Does anybody know what comes up? Child care. Oh yeah, do it. Do it. You know how many times I've written child-free in the next book that I'm writing? Child-free, child-free, child-care, child-care. It's almost like the words are saying, no, you can't say child-free. You have to say child-care. I can't make this up. I want you to go home and try it for yourself, okay? So there I am. Aw, wasn't I cute? This was my introduction, although I never knew it. That's my beloved mom, who I lost way too young at 75. You see how 75 gets to me? That's me, maybe 2 or 3, I'm not sure. And look at what I've learned at this picture already without knowing it. There's the piano. I don't know if you can see it, because it's believe me, I'm sitting on a piano. Music has always been a part of my life. And there's the Christmas tree. Yes, every good Jewish child should have a Christmas tree. It was not religious. It was just my mother wanted me to have the fun of what the other kids were having, and I had a Christmas tree. And I still do every year. So I learned that that was okay. And there was a Scotty dog. I don't know if you could see him. His little eye is over there in the middle. And my Jenny doll. How many here had dolls growing up? Yeah. Now, little boys get trucks and things that could boom in the night, but we women are given dolls. That was the beginning of pronatalism that I never knew existed, that my mother never knew existed, because she never told me there was a choice. I never knew there was a choice. There's never been a course in any of the classes I took that says there's a choice. And when I dared to even mention in the middle school that I taught, after the 3 years when I had my tenure and I knew they wouldn't fire me, there was a course given, family and careers or some other nonsense, and my students would run around with a basket, and in the basket was a hard-boiled egg. I can't make this up, a hard-boiled egg. And the little girls would put bonnets on this little hard-boiled egg, and little boys would just toss the egg in the basket. And then you had to sign off if you were going to go to the movies or something for a babysitter for the egg. And God forbid that egg fell. You had egg abuse. This taught what it meant to be a parent. And after my 3 years, I decided to confront. And I said, this doesn't teach what it is to be a parent. And they said, well, what do you mean? I said, well, get a program doll. The ones that cry all night and you have to, right? But, oh, no, that was too expensive. Oh, no. And I was told in so many words to shut up. And knowing what I went through before, I shut up. There's nothing that teaches you about choice, is there? Nothing. There should be. My fire into pronatalism. Your early brain, and I'm using the word brainwashing because, my darlings, I'm deprogramming you right now. You are now in a deprogramming program that you are so lucky to be in. And next year, I hope we have 5 times the amount of these people. With your mouth, you're going to go out and tell people to come. My goal here is to deprogram you in 45 minutes. Strap on, here we go. It's going to be a bumpy ride. Let me show you some examples of pronatalism, even the word Madonna. Now, you're saying to me, well, she adopted 4 beautiful children from Malawi. Well, those of you who have even tried to adopt know this is no easy deal. It's a long wait. I love the heads going like this. It makes me feel that I'm doing the right thing. Thank you. It's a long wait. It costs money. You don't always get what you want if you want it. But Madonna built a hospital in Malawi, and she went over and said, I'll take that one, and on that one, and that one. This is pronatalism, and it's not fair. It makes you feel less than if you don't adopt. I'm not saying that it's bad what she's doing. She's doing a good job. This is pronatalism. Oh, there it is. Land's End. They're selling clothing, right? Wait. They're selling more. And I wrote it because you can't see it. Of course, I want you to look at the little girl, always cute. The children in the ads are always adorable. You will never see an ugly kid. Never. And by the way, if somebody shows you a picture of their little darling, and it is this most hideous child you've ever seen, and there are, And you're kind of forced to say, oh. And when you're saying, oh, what happened? What happened? Here's what I have learned to say. Remember, 75 years looking back, what can I teach you? Here it is. This is what you say. Memorize this. You must feel so proud. I can't say what a cute kid. It's a lie, okay? Here's what it says that you can't read. They're selling clothing. Oh, no, they're not. Underneath, it says, it's the most important job you'll have all day. So what are they teaching? What's the implication? If you're a career woman and you don't have a child to come home to, well, it's just, there's nothing to compare to that. And those of you who are working, who pick up the slack of those parents who have to go home and you're not given one dime extra, you're suffering from pronatalism. Sorry if every now and then I get verklempt. Okay. Because I know you've written to me. You've poured your hearts out to me. And this is the moment where I share it back to you so that you don't think you're the only one on this planet feeling this way. Okay? Here, the next one. Oh, I love the next one. Let's not forget the men. We can't forget the men. There it is. That's a table of contents in a magazine. Am I driving the videographers crazy? And it says, it's on page 148, it says, get an adorable bedroom. Notice who's in the bedroom. It's the daddy, smiling with his happy little boy, because if you get an adorable bedroom, of course it's got to be a man in there or a partner in there with another little child. Nothing about the article is about kids, but look at the implications. Get an adorable bedroom. If the bed was just there by itself, fine. There's no need to have that adorable kid. And they're always adorable, like I said. So you say to me, oh, God, Marsha, is there any hope? Yes! Watch this. Just recently. Dum-da-da-dum. Any hope for the future? I wanted it to be dramatic. There was an ad from Target that said, time for a fur baby run. Oh! I came running into the room to my husband and said, look! Oh my God, they called a pet a fur baby. A pet is a fur baby. Now, I have been shunned for saying I'm a fur mom. What is so bad about loving an animal? You don't have to, by the way. If you don't, that's fine. But I'm not child-free by choice because I'm a fur mom. I adopted a snarky 10-pound little chihuahua. The next picture is Alanis Morissette. She came out with her postpartum battle. Oh, little by little, you're beginning to see truth about pregnancy, birth, and after. And it's not always that, beautiful picture that you've always been told. There's like a secret society out there of not telling the truth. Here are some of the facts. 1 out of 100 women die in childbirth. Those of you who are fearing childbirth, yeah, you have a right to, postpartum, without a doubt, and men have it too. Have any of you been watching Outdaughtered? Anybody? It's an amazing show of a man and a woman who had a daughter and then had, I think, fertility. They wanted more, and they had quintuplets. So the man is now sucking his thumb in a fetal position. And it's raw and real about the realities, not to mention how their intimacy has gone down, their commitment together as a couple has been changed because the needs of these 6 little girls is overwhelming. And he has suffered from severe postpartum. It's coming out now. How about blood clots? I lost a sister-in-law after her 3rd child was born. blood clot to the brain. Her husband was by her side as a gynecologist and couldn't save her. How about urinary incontinence or fecal incontinence? That has happened after childbirth. How about pelvic, anal, perineal tears, nausea? Kate Middleton has given us some understanding of nausea now. Oh, but please, she has health care. It's a whole other topic. She has nannies at home, and she could say, I'm nauseous. Okay, yeah, she is, thank you. She told the truth. But it's pronatalistic in a way because it kind of overlooks that it's a bad thing because it looks like she's so stoic by having this child. And she is. She is. So what's the next one? Open your eyes to pronatalism. And here's how. Would you please read? There are 130 books now in a site called Goodreads.com, and I have notes, by the way, that's right, that Jane will give you. It's all in there. 130 books, many of whom are sitting here in this room, who have poured their hearts out and self-published as I did, because publisher after publisher after publisher said to me, oh, nobody wants to read that. Oh, you don't have to. There's a choice. It's so easy. Everybody could just choose it. Nobody's shunned. Well, the second book coming out, there's some flurry of excitement from publishers. So those women who have written those books, I want you to read their books. Open your eyes to what pronatalism is through their eyes. Okay? She did not pay me. I swear to you, she did not pay me. This woman sitting here, if you don't have a copy of the Baby Matrix, she's going to cry. I know. It should be required reading in every high school across the world, written in every language, what pronatalism is. Not only that, she's an amazing woman. When I wrote that first book and other women who were writing, I turned to them, what do I do? How do I do it? This woman gave me her book cover artist, her formatter, what I should do. So I'm honoring you today for what you've done for me. Buy her book. And buy the other books, too. I want to see 3 books in your hand before you leave. Would you please start reading about estranged parents? There is a site that's in my notes. I want you to go on it. There'll be a test. Where parents pour their hearts out to the agony and the defeat of parenting. Good, beautiful human beings who have children who have scorned them. Children who have made terrible choices. Drug addicts, alcoholics. Children in prison who they're raising the children that they've had, who never thought they'd be grandparents, who thought they'd just be playing with them and giving them back. Because after all, it's the icing on the cake of parenting, right? Read about estranged parents. They're out there, and there are thousands of them. Now there's the myths, and there are the realities of parenting. You have known those myths from the time that doll was put in your hand, right? Start learning about the realities. How do you do that, you ask me? Here's the answer. Volunteer to take care of some child more than 2 hours babysitting. If you can, a weekend. Better yet, a week. Well, for those, let me tell you something. For anybody, remember those questions? For anybody who had those questions, it could help you to see the light. Because it isn't all moonbeams and fuzzy tales and glorious, lovely stories. It's sometimes hell. And good parents do it. But I want you to know that you're not missing, because you always feel I'm missing. You all know that beautiful I don't know if you know what the word Kodak is. I'm dating myself. It's a film that we used to take. There were cameras and they had film back in the days of the dinosaurs. So you all know the Kodak moment. That beautiful moment where you go, oh, I've had it. I had it when her... By By the way, my best friend Jane has 2 sons. 2 sons who I've grown up with now. You look at me and say, what? You have a friend that has sons? Children? She's the testimony to you that there are parents out there who will love you for who you are. And it's a test of friendship. If somebody will say to you, I love you just the way you are. I'm not going to say, oh, isn't that selfish? Oh, what if you regret this? Do you really love your husband or your partner? What's wrong with you? Never once did I hear that from this woman, and she's with me today. And I've been through the struggles, and I've been through the Kodak moments with her. It's not easy. So go ahead and find a friend, and don't be afraid if they have kids. If they love you, they'll love you forever. I love you, Jane. Would you stop being defensive? Please stop being defensive. Now, if you're proud as any parent, you will not find the need to be defensive. 45 minutes to undo this. I'm trying hard, okay? Stop being defensive, and here's what you do. You're going to love this. You need to learn 4 little words. Ready? This one you could write down in case you forget it. You get into an argument. You're so selfish. Oh, my God. You're going to regret this. Who's going to take care of you in your old age? What's wrong with you? Here's what I want you to do. Keep asking them to tell you more. Oh, really? Tell me more. Oh, really? After they finish and they're out of breath because they've gone down 500 reasons for you to have a child, you take their hands, you look into their eyes, and you say this. Ready? You may be right. I'll say that again. You may be right. They can't argue. Now listen again to the words. You may be right. I'm not saying they're right. I'm saying they may be right. Because they'll never be wrong. So tell them they may be right. End of defensiveness, end of discussion. You may be right. When you have a situation and you're in a push-pull, I call it the dysfunction cha-cha-cha. When one person ends it, there's no more going on. You may be right. Now, you may want to reach for their neck and squeeze till their eyes pop out. But instead, you turn around and you go away and you start to giggle because you're going home to your child-free lifestyle. Okay? What's next? I forgot. What's next? You may be right. Would you please support the movies here today? Where's my Maxine? Stand up. Where's Teresa? Where's she? Is she here? Stand up. And they deserve it. I wrote to one of my friends who I went to high school with a big mucky muck, really mucky muck in the movie. And I said, please, could you do a movie? And he said, what? Nobody will come see it. These women, the only way we're going to get these movies is your money. Your money. Because nobody's going to give them their money. You know how hard it is to get somebody to speak on behalf of us? Because of branding and fear and nonsense. Okay? So go online. She's still looking for money, right? We already have one funded, but she'll take more money. Without these movies, my goodness, this is our opportunity to be seen and heard. So honor them, honor them, honor them. Did I say it enough? Honor them. Oh, going back to the arguing, this is important. Difficult people are powerless without your negative reaction. They're dead. They can't go on. Next is how do I get to like this lifestyle? Yeah, you just read that word, right? You nasty little people, you. The word is masturbating. Albert Ellis coined it a long time ago in his Guide to Rational Living. You must do this, you must do that, you must do this. What? Oh my God, you must do this. And then you start saying to yourself, I must do this, I must do that. This is your life. This is not a dress rehearsal. So wrap your arms around it and be proud of it and love it and stop masturbating. Some of you still feel rejected. I saw a lot of hands. Some of you still feel, you're going to love my next book, by the way. Woo-hoo. Some of you are jealous. Some of you are angry. Some of you may be worried about the future. All those are because you're thinking thoughts that are bringing you down to the bottom of the ocean, lower than the snails crawling there. The thought creates the feeling. Jane laughed at me the other day. She said, Marcia, let me tell you why. I had a little pain and a little, and when you've had cancer, a little pain becomes like, and I found myself falling into the, oh my God, is it back? Chemo, radiation, vomiting, oh my God. So I called my best friend, and this is what she said. Stop it! Stop it! Go back to your speech. You're teaching these people that your thoughts create your feelings, and you need to learn it the most. What's wrong with you? She smacked me. That's why I love her. So zero in on your feelings. It's like take a temperature of what's going on in your heart. If it's fear, if it's anger, if it's jealousy, look at your thoughts. That's the key. What am I thinking? Change the thoughts. Now, you may have to say stop it in your brain and do it a few times. But you'll learn. It happens. So you can either remain a victim of your life or be in control of your life. This is up to you. Now I want you to start celebrating this lifestyle. I mean, celebrating it, girlfriends. I don't want you to feel that it's not a lifestyle to not enjoy and embrace and be proud of. Start celebrating it. How do you do that, you ask me? Have some parties. If you have a partner who's having a vasectomy, celebrate it. The gifts are hysterical, from what I hear. Hysterical. Hysterical. If you finally made a choice to have a tubal, celebrate it. If you've accomplished a goal in life, celebrate it. If you, on Facebook, how many of you have seen things that really makes you want to throw up? Thank you. Me too. Well, you can say, I don't agree with that. Or if you find this, from me, I have about 5 sites to support child-free people. If you find a post, share it. Just like sharing a picture of a kid, isn't it? Share it. Be proud of it. When I first published my book, I sent out a birth announcement. I labored with that sucker for so long. And when it finally was delivered, I was proud. And I sent out birth announcements. So start doing that. Why not? You're living the child-free lifestyle. Keep a child-free journal. I want you to be aware of the beauty of this lifestyle. At the end of the day, look at it. And if anything in there says, I'm bored, well, you're the fault. You can't be bored unless you choose to be bored. Get out there and live and have fun. Take a bubble bath. If you want to masturbate, do it. Well, is that going to be edited? It's free time. It's yours. You know how many mothers would like to do that? Okay? I mean, I speak the truth. You know, when you get to be 75, you just say what you want to say. And just really, I don't care. Just the other day, I call them my daughter friends. I have a lot of kids I taught who are still in my life who mean a lot to me. And her name is Annie. And she was talking to me about her 4th baby that was born and what she was going through postpartum. She said, you know what, Marsha, the other day I was taking a poop. She said, in walks my little girl. She goes, Mommy, you making poopies? Mommy, it stinks. She said, I couldn't get rid of this little one because it would be abuse if I put the child outside the door. Well, the other day I was on the toilet, and in walks my chihuahua. I tell the truth. And she sits down in front of me. It's like a routine every morning. And I thought to myself, well, I could just pick her little sorry self up and put her outside, and there's no problem. Celebrate this lifestyle. Celebrate it. Okay. Some of you need to nurture or be nurtured. My darlings, do you know how many children are out there that need you? Do you have any idea how many come from parents who shouldn't have been parents, or parents who are so wealthy that they've never taken care of them? They belong to boys and girls clubs. They belong to big sister, big brother. There's mentoring programs. If you want to mentor, if you want to nurture, they're out there. Crack babies that need to be held. If that's what you need, go do it. Adults need nurturing too. How many senior citizen centers are loaded with old people who have nobody? Oh, wait. They may have had children. Children who live far away, who can't come. Children who can't come because they can't stand the parents. Remember the estranged parents? Children who have died, and they sit in an old age home, or they sit in a senior citizen center, and they're lonely. They're lonely. Reach out to them. My friend Anu reached out to an older couple. They were child-free. We don't know if child-free by fate or child-free by choice. And in their aging years, she took on the job of caring for them and going through all their books for them and sending out their bills on time. She did it for, I think, 10 to 17 years, I forget. Anu, I'm sorry, I forgot the number. But one by one, they died. The first one died. Before he died, he said, I want my ashes taken to Ireland. She took his ashes to Ireland. And then Eloise, the second woman, died. And the attorney called her and said, the entire estate is yours. Now, they had cousins and people in Ireland. They left the home, which is on the water, it's gorgeous, and every bit of their money to Anu. Now, don't do it to get money. Because you're lucky, you'll pick the old man who has nothing. Okay? But the joy that she had in nurturing these people was given back in a gift she never expected, because the gift was the nurturing. She said, Marcia, I was shocked. So find older people, find pets that need you. If you don't like dogs, fine. If you don't like cats, fine. That's okay. But if you do, my goodness, would you rescue one or volunteer to walk them or foster them? And finally, this planet needs you, who has more time to help plant a tree, hug a tree, get into the Sierra Club, get involved with this thing called our planet. I think the next one is the emotional one. Are we ready? I think we're ready. You talk about nurturing, and you talk about wanting to nurture. My husband has 2 daughters. Now, I was faulted for this. Somebody said, well, then you're not child-free by choice. You can't be representative of child freedom. I tried for years to be a friend. I certainly wasn't a mother to those 2 snarky women. My friend Jane wished to call me and say, what? What did you say? Beat them! And they decided that we were less than whatever and flicked us both out of their lives like a dead booger. We're no longer, for almost, I think, 18 years, having nothing to do with them. We have grandchildren we've never met. Okay? I want you to see the next, I think it's the next one. Before that. Take time to nurture your own child inside you. Take time to love that child and have fun with that child and do things with that child. This is not that dress rehearsal. This is your life. So take time to love yourself in many ways. You're going to think I'm a sex nut. I'm not. And then finally, I want you to see this. Hit it. This is my husband, Jim. He's walking down the aisle, Nazni. Nazni is a student forever in my heart. She fell in love with a man who was not accepted by her family. It's a cultural thing. Nobody was at her wedding from her family. Her father did not walk her down the aisle. My Jim walked her down the aisle. He never walked his daughters down the aisle. And there's beautiful Brendan. That moment for him. You could. You should. Oh, do I go to the next one? Okay. That moment for him was a life-fulfilling moment. And they talk to each other almost every day. She calls him my Uncle Jim. I'm Mrs. Davis because I'm the teacher. And in her culture, it could never be more than that. Okay? But he calls her my daughter friend. And the two of them, who have lost each other's fathers and daughters, are together forever. So I'm telling you, nurture. They're out there. And it's just as rewarding. Okay? What do you do when there are friends who reject you? Well, first of all, find one that won't. Oh, it's 40 minutes? Okay. Find other people. Find other people. They're out there. If you think they're not out there, they're out there. There are many people waiting to meet you. Many. Start your own meetup. Get to other conventions. Go to your Facebook. Now, that's nice to like something, nice to post something, but what do you think about this? What do you think about this? Okay? Sharing hearts in person is everything. Everything. So make it a point to do that. There's also organizations worldwide, DINKS, Double Income, No Kids, No Kidding. My goodness, they're out there. And my next one is Child-Free Travel. I have been so lucky. We have 2 people here, I think, who are coming on a cruise with me, right? There's 1, there's 2. Yay! Oh, that's your Jeanette? Ah! Take a look. This is from the last cruise. I do no-kid group cruises. And we have a ball. We're going out December 3rd of this year. We still have room. And December 8th of next year. This is a picture of a couple who had a ball. Well, they were kissing a stingray there. But meeting other child-free people. Nobody who will say to you, so how many kids do you have? And some of these adult places that have, they call it adult resorts, you'll still find parents who will say to you, how many kids do you have? Here's the biggie. Will you have regrets? Maybe. Maybe. I don't know. Not if you've lived your life well. Not if you've done what I said. Not if you're impassioned and joyful and excited, embracing this lifestyle called the child-free lifestyle. And here's the big question. Oh, by the way, I have no regrets. 75. Thank you. Can't parents have regrets too? That says it all. If you're fearing alone, go visit an assisted living place. See how many people visit the people in assisted living. Usually it's friends or neighbors, rarely is it kids. And again, because some of them may not live, some of them don't care, blah, blah, blah. Visit. That's one of those myths. Create diverse friendships, younger, older, yummy, younger, older. Find them. Be involved in your life. Join organizations that are passionate to you, whether it's political or it's emotional or there's a cause that's exciting to you. Make this life exciting for yourself. You have that opportunity. Would you please get yourself a good financial advisor? So, a wrap up. Open your eyes to pronatalism, read those books, support our 2 ladies here who are making films. Change your thoughts, your emotions will follow. Don't be defensive, be proud, be excited. Find other child-free people, celebrate this lifestyle. Make a journal every day of your life and take a look at it. It's yummy. And if it's not yummy, you're the cause. And find a good financial advisor. So what is your feminine legacy? This is what this is all about. Well, I'm changing that. What is your human legacy? What do you want to do when you're as old as I am and you're looking back and you say, was this worth it? What did I do? Choose your life to fit your needs and the needs of others if that's your calling. Your legacy is what you make it, whether it's feminine or masculine or neuter, I don't care. But you have to be able to look back and say, well lived. Now this is the emotional part. I'll probably start crying. So I left myself a chance to stop. It's not working, so screw it. The sands of time are coming. I'm 75. I've already fought cancer. How much longer do I have? I don't know. You don't know either. But at 75, it ain't looking good. The sands of time are coming. I started off saying to you all the questions about why are you here? What is it that you feel? And I'm hoping that in the 45 minutes, I deprogrammed you. And if I leave here thinking that a few of you, just a few of you, will be proud and stand up and fight for what we deserve, which is recognition and honor to be child-free, I will have felt my life was worth living. So if you feel that way, would you please raise your hands? I love you all. Have a great life.
Thank you for your inspiring message. Okay, so you shared that a child-free lifestyle was your choice. How did you deal with the rejection throughout life, as confident as you were in your decision? And did you find that you kind of grieved as far as how you were treated? Does that make sense?
Yeah,
throughout your life, your career?
I love that question. I love that question. It wasn't easy. There were times I cried. There were times I screamed out loud. Why? What am I doing? Who is this hurting? This is my choice. You know, we shouldn't have this NotMom Summit. Let's be honest. We shouldn't have to have anything like this. And the hope is someday, in my lifetime, I'll see that. But I dealt with it because I knew how wonderful the lifestyle was. And I became impassioned to share it with others and to speak my truth and to live my life with dignity. So there were moments that were difficult. You know, when you're walking across, by the way, I used to speak, and they were picketing in front of the school that I was picketing with signs that read, "Godless bitch." So I know what it's like to get death threats. I've had death threats. And it's not fun. My dog's life was threatened years ago. And it actually fueled my fire to stop it. And plus what I taught you about thoughts, stopping the thought and going to the positive of it. Isn't it sad that we even have this question? It really is. Does that answer you? Thank you. Well, anybody else? Don't be afraid.
Marcia, thank you so much for being here today.
Oh my God, it's my pleasure.
Can you speak to your spiritual practices or spiritual beliefs? Thank you.
Interesting thought. My spiritual feeling is me as a human. I have this calling within myself, not through anything else, just within myself, to believe in what I think is important on this planet, and that is human to human, heart to heart. I don't have anything against anybody who believes in more than that. I think that's beautiful. But I say actions through you. And I went to one of I teach English as a second language, and I volunteer in a very, very poor trailer park of Hispanic, beautiful women who are my family. That's how, you know. And I went to the communion, and I heard the priest say, those of you who are praying to God, God's too busy. Look to your left, look to your right. That's the person who's probably there to help you, and that's what I feel.
Hi, my name's Heather Ogren. Thank you so much for your wonderful talk. I love thinking about people power, also kind of life force and people power. So my question is, I think I'm going to be having some of my questions answered tomorrow in the mommy jacking self-defense.
Hello. Hello.
One of the reasons that quite a few people don't know I'm at this conference is because I try not to let fear rule my life, but I fear offending people. Some of my closest friends and family members, most of them are moms or want to be moms. And it feels like a tricky situation to be in, where we are all people who come from mothers and fathers, but we're deciding not to do that. So I just wanted to hear a little bit more about how you can, obviously I can't just try to please everyone all the time, but just wanting to not potentially damage really important friendships.
Okay, so Stop right there, because really important friendships will love you for who you are. And sad to say, sometimes it's the test. People come in and out of your life for different reasons, and sometimes you have to say bye-bye. If you're afraid of them, where's the heart connection? There is something you could also say. I call it the broken CD technique. You seem to be so happy as a mother. I'm so happy for you. I'm so happy not being a mother. And if they say, but, you seem so happy being a mother. I'm so happy for you. Be happy for me. I'm not a mother. But, you seem so happy being... It's called the broken CD technique. Try it.
Hi, I hate talking in microphones.
Oh, do it. This may be the moment you learn it's okay.
Okay.
When you say, I hate, that becomes your self-fulfilling prophecy. I hate. I'm afraid.
I know I should never ask why, like why the guy from Las Vegas shot up the crowd, but I just don't understand why people have such a problem with why I don't have children, but people have such a reason why, and I was just wondering if you had a thought as to why people have such a problem with it.
Because of pronatalism. Oh. That's why you need her book.
I'll buy it. I bought yours, and I.
No, seriously, that's a very good question. Because from the time we're born, we're expected to have the biological destiny of raising children. Hey, I have lungs and I'm not an opera singer. I have a breast and vagina, it's not being used. But I have lungs, and that's not being used that way either. So we're expected. It's societal, and it's pronatalistic. Well, I think that's a very interesting question, too. You know, go forth and multiply. What about thou hast multiplied the nation and not increased its joy? You know, you could read anything in any book, whether it's the Quran, whether it's whatever. There's always something that will stand up for what you want or what you don't want. We'll find the ones that you want.
Thank you for your talk. I'm Davinia. I introduced myself earlier. Yeah. I just wondered, for me, I'm married, and my husband, he's very, he's completely supportive of our choice, but he certainly doesn't want to go around chatting to all sorts of other people about it. And I'm very interested in kind of the differences between the kind of male and female perspectives on child-freeness, and how a lot of men they just want to be private with their choice, and they say that they never talk about it with their friends, and their friends never ask them, which is
Isn't that interesting?
Isn't that lovely?
Isn't that interesting?
And it doesn't matter. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he just sort of doesn't. He's kind of about it, and I just don't get that, and I just wondered what you thought about it.
Well, first of all, him being about that, celebrate it. That's your beautiful partner in life. Not everybody is going to be a feisty person, okay? My husband rarely talks about anything unless they start in about their children and how wonderful, and, you know, it hurts him because his kids are not wonderful. It's okay if he doesn't want to, but they're given trucks to play with when they're little. They're given bang-em-up things and shoot-em-up things. We're given dolls. And yeah, I think more and more men now are stepping up to the plate. Little by little. You're going to start, I hope, seeing books written by men, because believe it or not, it's needed. Or you believe it. So celebrate him. You know, it's okay. He's just fine the way he is. You know. And he doesn't have the kind of pressure we as women have. Of course, our bodies. Of course, you know it does take a sperm. That can be a shock, but it does sometimes. You know.
I just want to add something that I think is adding to your voice about being positive about it. I feel sort of fairly new still in this world, and you'll see a bit of my story tonight. But women have thanked me, and I want to thank you and Laura and Jody and people doing it and saying it when we needed it most. So you kind of paved the way. So I just wanted to thank you.
Mm-hmm. On the back of my car is a bumper sticker, and it says, "Happy to be child-free." I also have one of these on my luggage. And as we left the plane, the pilot looked at it and said, "Whoa." He went, you should have seen the face. I mean, she was so like, "Oh my God, I can't believe you put it on your luggage." You know, and the faces of some people looking at me. But I'm happy to be child-free. And more people are saying, "Way to go, way to go." This is given to anybody who buys my book today. Okay. It's cheap hawking, but I don't care.
Hi, Marsha. My name is Erica.
Erica.
Yeah, thank you so much for your talk today. My question, sort of a vulnerable one for me, but because I'm really sort of in the midst of my journey on all this right now. But I'm curious about the space between child-free and childless. In other words, the space where choice becomes really difficult and complex, and maybe it doesn't come from something as simple as, not simple, but as like infertility or something where you just can't do it.
Right.
And nor are you in the position of having known that this was something you absolutely didn't want, but rather it's a choice coming from difficult sort of experiences or childhood.
I think when you hear Jody speak tomorrow, she's going to, I'm sure, where's Jody? I'm sure you'll handle this, right? I don't want to walk on your... There is, in my opinion, a difference between child-free and childless. I never wanted children. So it's difficult for me to broach that as she can and will. But there is a difference in the word, just the word. Mm-hmm. Look up in the dictionary the word childless. Let me tell you what it says. Fecund, barren, non-productive. I mean, who would want that? And look at the word child-free. Look what that does, too. I'm not free of kids. This planet has kids. They're in it. And we need it in it, or else the planet ends, okay? There really is no... When you think about words and how they've hurt and become divisive on this planet, Republican, Democrat, black, white, child-free, childless, even within child-free, I'm scorned. I once had the title of stepmother. I have a dog. I mean, it's endless, this divisiveness on this planet. So wrap your heart around the choice that you can make and not be a victim of what you've been told is what you should do, what you're missing. Keep that journal. Make sure your life is filled with fun. Don't think that if you're bored, that baby is going to make it everything, because that baby becomes a teenager.
Thank you.
You were all teenagers, so you know what I'm saying. Did that answer your question?
Hi, Marcia.
Hi.
Thank you for that lovely speech. And I want to go back to the indoctrination of children's toys, gendered toys, and baby dolls. I remember my mother told me stories that she would pass me a baby doll and I would just recoil in horror. Now, did anybody else here in this room just find the little homunculi just creepy?
There are quite a few. There are quite a few. And that's perfectly fine. Perfectly. Did they try to get you more dolls? Uh-huh. Yeah. Because remember, your parents are a product of pronatalism. They want you to have what they think is normal. We are normal, folks. Anything else?
And the last question.
Dum-da-da-dum. Drum roll.
Hi, Marsha.
Hi.
I guess I'm also controversial like you are. My husband has children. What advice do you have for those of us that identify as child-free, but our spouse happens to have children?
In my opinion, you never wanted to have children. You never bore a child. You're happy not having children, but you're good as a friend. You're child-free, in my opinion. That gets me all the time. It's like that expectation, and that title, and how, again, divisive. Do we just live this life with passion and joy and pride? Stop defending, start living it, start seeing it, start deprogramming yourself, and you one day, I hope, will be able to speak just as freely. And actually, I hope you don't have to speak. You have a good life, okay?
Thank you, Marsha. That was awesome. I gotta say, as I'm one of the ones who started life as I loved my baby dolls. And I watched the Waltons and 8 is Enough and the Cosbys and everything else because I was going to have me some 12 kids because I was an only child. So I was a pretty lonely child. So therefore, if I couldn't have sisters and brothers, I was just going to populate my house with them. And that didn't happen. And then you hit a certain point where, you realize, if it happens, it happens. And so there you are. But what I took out of Marsha's speech and what I hope that the women in the room who do identify as childless or don't feel free all the time is the idea of ending the divisiveness. And that is what the NotMom is all about. And that is the question. That is the question that almost every reporter who has interviewed me to date asks at some point. Well, why did you decide that you should put everybody together? Why don't you just do it for women like you? And I said, well, because for me, backing up Marsha's point, and the example that people always seem to understand when they're confused by us, one of my helpful things is turn it into a mom thing, and then they go, oh, wow. So my answer is always, why do working moms fight against stay-at-home moms? At the end of the day, it's the stupidest damn fight ever. So for you to say that a woman who never wanted kids has absolutely nothing in common with a woman who did is bizarre. And if you're only one of every 6 women in this country and similar numbers around the world, stick together, right? Right. All right.